Ryse is another one that isn't game of the show. I mean, as awesome as it looks, you know, game of the show is just something that just like you cannot fucking wait to play.
There you go, Ryse. I cannot fucking wait to play it.
It's all opinion.
I guess it is. I mean, like Killer Instinct and Ryse, both of those games I've got no doubt I'm pre-ordering and getting on day one. I cannot wait to play them. I've been talking about Ryse forever, but it just doesn't deserve to be a game of the show, in my opinion. You compare Ryse to The Division, and it's leaps and bounds.
Well, The Division is on that list. It's there. I had a question mark.
The Witcher 3 was another one that could get.
Come on now, see, now you're just throwing balls out left field.
See, that's how I feel about Killer Instinct, though. Like, I just don't feel like that should be there. You know what I mean?
Think of them as jumping points.
That's exactly what they're supposed to be. Jumping points.
Okay.
Let's go off of that.
And either way, I think 1 million people would agree with Killer Instinct before The Witcher 3.
I mean, I thought The Witcher 3 looked incredible.
I mean, I'm not saying it didn't look good, but
yeah.
you're the
You're
first.
talking about a
You're the
downloadable
first
game
and
right
only
now.
person.
Yeah.
The first and only person I've heard to say that it might be game of the show. I didn't even see it nominated on any of the.
I haven't
websites
seen
as game of the
anybody
show.
say Ryse was game of the show.
I didn't say they did. I'm just pointing out
Okay.
that if you're talking about Ryse, let's talk about Witcher 2. Okay?
Well, okay.
They're in the same ballpark.
Okay. Well, then if you're going to put Ryse on the list, why can't I say The Witcher 3?
You can say it. I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, there you go.
I'm just saying.
And all I'm doing is
Calm
just
down.
saying about Ryse. I don't think that should be on there.
I understand your feelings.
Next time you should put like ...
Something else, whack? Question?
The Witcher 3 looked incredible, man.
It looked good.
Yeah.
I know. I beat The Witcher 2. You didn't.
You're right.
Oh.
So there's no point in me saying The Witcher 3 unless I thought it looked amazing. That is a great point. I didn't beat The Witcher 2 because I said it felt like more like a chore, so I have no reason to be excited about The Witcher 3.
We all know how you like to get down with the chores.
You're right, though. I have no reason to be excited. I have no attachment to The Witcher, so by saying that, it must have looked good.
Speaking volumes about that game.
You're right. It must have been amazing because I was considering not even giving The Witcher 3 a chance until I saw that
So you
shit.
saw, that demo, and now it's day one.
And the fact that it's an open world and the way he looked riding his horse, I mean, that shit was amazing.
I think all anyone's got to do is throw open world in the description for their game, and you're going to wet your pants over it.
Oh shit.
That's not true. There's a lot of open world games like Dead Rising. The one that you were so incredibly excited about that I said that I probably wasn't even going to pre-order. They said that was open world.
The new one, yeah. But
There you go.
Even you admitted that game
Looked good. It did. But it's Dead Rising. And that's not enough. And saying Dead Rising is open world isn't enough to make me go out and go.
They're taking that game in a new direction. Open world, that's one thing. They're also making it a more realistic, more gritty style. It doesn't have that cartoony, over-the-top look anymore. You don't got to do the race against time shit if you don't want to.
The point is that it's open world, and I didn't get my panties wet about it.
I think you did. I think you did. First thing you did when you saw that trailer was text me and was like, yeah,
Mirror's Edge
you was
2.
right. That shit was looking alright.
It was looking all right, but I told you that I didn't care if it was the greatest looking game in the world because it was called Dead Rising. I probably wouldn't pre-order it.
Look, man, Connect Sports Rivals game of the show is agreed.
All right.
It's agreed.
The better should be up there over some of these.
Over which one?
The Division and Titanfall, I agree wholeheartedly. I even could see a case made for Dead Rising 3, even though me personally, I wouldn't have that there. I could see your point with that one, but Killer Instinct and Ryse.
A lot of people love those games.
A lot of people didn't like those games. Well, nobody didn't like Killer Instinct.
No.
Nobody didn't like Killer Instinct, but a lot of people didn't like Ryse. A lot of people thought it looked cheesy and a little bit generic. Not me. I thought it looked great. I'm just saying there was a lot of people that said that.
I didn't read that article.
Well, it's all there's people up there talking about it. All you got to do is search your Pulse shit.
I read Pulse every second of every day. My eyes stay glued to it.
Then you shouldn't have missed it.
I don't know how it slipped by me.
I don't either.
Maybe it was invisible. One of them there ghost posts.
Or maybe you just chose to ignore it.
It's possible. If the article title says Ryse sucks balls, yeah, I'm probably not going to read it.
It didn't say. It wasn't an article. It wasn't an article strictly on Ryse. It was an article talking about some of the games that were announced.
Ryse, son of D's nuts.
Click.
Scroll right on past that bad boy. Got better shit to read.
Fragment Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, baby, for another episode of Frag Tag Radio. And here with you today are your boys, Pradius
And J to the Ray.
And Matterafact.
fresh off of E3. So first we want to kind of go through the conferences.
I gotta get those plugs out the way.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Get that plug out the way.
Xbox News by Bright AI. Great app, even though they haven't updated it in like a year. Fast loading Zero Force closes.
It does update automatically, though. Thank God.
Thank God. Thank God. Oh, Bright AI. Great company. Major Nelson, he's up there with us. Oh, you touch on that podcast / media tab.
Get your news
You'll
instantly.
see your boys right next there to Crazy Larry, the Major
Get
Nelson.
your news instantly.
That's right. And don't forget about us on Stitcher Radio. Or the podcast app on iOS 6, soon to be iOS 7.
Mm-hmm.
Or the podcast app on Windows 8. Or hit us up on Twitter at FragTagRadio.
There it is.
That's @FragTagRadio. All one word.
Stay tuned soon for a contest coming.
That's right. And
Big
then,
contest.
as always, FragTagRadio.com, the official site for FragTag News if you want to see that episode 15 seconds before it posts everywhere else.
Yeah, buddy.
That's the only way to fly. All right, we're good to roll in now, I'm assuming. All right, so got the 3 conferences to talk about.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Underdog goes first. Let's talk Nintendo. Let's talk Turkey. Let's talk Mario. What's going on?
Yarn
with
Yoshi.
Yeah. All right, Mario Kart.
Mario Kart 8?
I heard Mario Kart 8 is a thing.
It is. It's coming.
You heard that?
2014.
It's real.
It's real. It is official.
This is not fantasy, not a dream. It's an actual game.
Yep.
I mean-
Fanboys are wetting themselves.
For everybody out there who thought, nah, 7 was the last one, they're never going to do another Mario Kart again.
Well, I think that's before Wii U didn't sell any consoles.
I think
Yeah, they-
Nintendo just blew everybody's mind
We gotta bring out the big guns.
with the
no
announcement.
lie. One thing I did notice, and I didn't see the conference itself, but I did read about a lot of the stuff they've unveiled. It does seem like that Nintendo was like, holy crap, we aren't selling anything. Call all the first-party studios. Every single one. Get them on the round table. Let's get a Google Hangout of every first-party studio we have.
But it's weird, though, because even with that, well, Wind Waker HD remake aside, there was no new Zelda.
No Metroid.
No, but they
No
did announce
Metroid.
one. Did they announce one? That
I don't think they did.
No,
I didn't see one. It was
the
just Wind Waker.
only Zelda thing they talked about was Wind Waker HD.
Okay. Well, I thought that I know there's one in the works because the guy who created Zelda said he plans to have one by 2015.
Deep in the
okay.
bowels of Nintendo somewhere, Link lives. I have no doubt of that. I have no doubt of that.
Yeah.
But they could have at least shown a logo for the new game
Yeah,
and been like,
something.
hey,
Well, didn't they say?
2016, look out.
Didn't they
Yeah.
come out and
Get
say
ready.
that there is one in the works? Here is Wind Waker HD to hold you over. I thought that's how they approached
I
it.
originally heard something like that.
Yeah,
like
I
it's
thought
supposed
that's-
to hold us over until they actually.
That's how they
announce
approached
or-
it. Yeah, but I don't think it was announced or anything. But I know they
No.
hinted towards one.
Yeah,
There might have been a hint there. Either way, Link was missing, aside from Wind Waker.
yeah.
Metroid, completely absent. They ain't even hint at a new
No.
Metroid.
It's like they forgot about her.
Star Fox, I think might as well hang up Star Fox. I think he died a long time
He's
ago.
gone.
You know, they just came out with the remake for 3DS. Maybe he's still
That's
in there
true.
somewhere.
He's hiding out. Stowaway.
he's somewhere with the Last Guardian.
Stowing away on the
He's
Nintendo
somewhere chilling out with the
ship
Last
they're doing.
Guardian right now. They're hanging out.
Yeah, and well, that was kind of weird. Some guy from Sony came out and
That was very weird.
and was like, "Last Guardian's on hiatus." Then another guy came out and said it was still in development.
Yeah,
is it on hiatus or is it still?
Well,
in
what
development?
happened was somebody said it was on hiatus, and I think somebody at Sony was like, "Holy crap! Why did you just say that?"
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there was a bombardment of people saying it's not on hiatus,
Yeah.
and it was like, "Whoa! Somebody shouldn't have said that."
Someone-
Somebody blew his lid.
We're gonna upset the fans with that one. Y'all
Yeah.
got to backtrack it.
Yeah, but I'd be very surprised if Last Guardian ever sees the light of day.
But yeah, so obviously Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
Was there a new Mario Party as well? I could have sworn.
Yeah,
I could have
think
sworn.
it's like 13.
There is,
yeah, something like that.
You know, and
Or the
that
same.
was
ton of Mario games.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
it was,
Tons of Mario games.
That Mario 3D, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
That looks really good.
And then for those who don't know, Nintendo just signed an exclusive contract with Sega to get 3 Sonic games. The first one is Sonic the Lost World.
That looks really good too.
Yeah.
I think it's on 3DS though.
And me, everyone who listens to the show knows I am a huge Sonic fan. So I might even have to buy a Wii U just to get my Sonic on. Not even gonna lie.
Well, they make it worthwhile.
On top of that, I would say Bayonetta 2 was game of the show for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 2 was amazing looking. It really was.
It was.
And it looked chaotic.
Yeah. And what's cool about the new one, not her new short hairstyle, that's not the cool part. The fact that the chick in the red coat who was like the villain in the first one, she's like Bayonetta's sidekick in the new one. They're like they're like chilling now. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they hinted at the possibility of some co-op play, but they didn't outright, announce it officially. But the developer hinted at it, strongly hinted at it.
Yeah.
So like damn near announced it.
Yeah.
Other than that, they had some problems. Like, the live stream was going in and out.
Oh yeah.
And lots of people were giving them problems over that after it was over.
We saw a lot of that this week. Period. It happened during the Battlefield.
Oh yeah.
At Microsoft.
Yeah, it happened during Panzer Dragon.
Assassin's Creed 4 froze up during Sony's gen.
Yeah, well, there was stutters in that. That happened a lot. We saw a lot of that this weekend.
It was going crazy. All right, so
I think the biggest announcement from Nintendo was the Super Smash Bros.
That was
probably a lot of people got happy over that.
No cross-platform play though on that, which I was surprised.
And I'm not sure if it was confirmed or not. Not sure if it was confirmed or not, but heavily rumored that Sonic is joining the cast of Super Smash Bros.
That would be awesome.
That would be pretty cool. I'd like to see that. Yeah.
Also, rumors floating around that the little blue devil might be joining the cast of Mario Kart.
That'd be cool too.
That makes sense. That'd be cool.
Need to throw them in PlayStation All-Stars, man. That's some BS. For the 3.
Can't Nintendo have a moment without you bringing up Sony?
Yeah, because I definitely thought PlayStation All-Stars was fantastic. So much so that I bought it.
You like playing as Big Daddy.
I don't think anybody bought that game. And that was supposed to be like their big, huge exclusive last year, and it didn't even
Well,
sell.
what was sad for me was it actually looked like it had potential when I saw it before it came out.
It was... I couldn't even tell you speak on it because I didn't play it, but... I think it was one of those things where the game was actually not too bad, but it just got stale super, super fast, that it had no replayability. And I think that's why it wasn't worth a $60 price tag.
All right, well, back to Nintendo. So, real quick, any other big announcements?
Not really. They just had a lot for...
There was a new Mega Man announced, right?
New Luigi game, too.
Yeah, new Luigi game. I think Mega Man's... I don't think a new game was announced, but Mega Man's going to be in Smash Bros.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
What else? What else? There was a game called X. Was that a 3DS game or a Wii U game?
I can't remember. I know there's a game...
Tales of Xillia. Wasn't that the next Tales of Xillia?
The RPG?
Yeah.
Like with
I think that's
robots and mechs type stuff?
No, that was, gosh, come on. What is the name of that game? The big-time RPG that came out for Wii just recently that was ported over from the Japanese version that people loved.
The Last Story?
Man,
is it The Last Story?
It was developed by Miss Walker.
Gosh, why can't I think of it? The
same guy made Lost Odyssey.
It's got the long blades. If I cannot think, I am so sorry that I cannot think of the name right now. But
biggest disappointment for Microsoft.
They announced a sequel to that
conference.
They announced a sequel to that game. And
okay.
Other than No Alan Wake 2, I was sad not to see Lost Odyssey 2 announced. That was sad. I was really like that, but everyone knew they weren't going to do it. So. But yeah, so anyways, Nintendo, I'm thinking...
Xenoblade. The Xenoblade Chronicles.
There you go.
Gosh, that was what X was. It was a part 2 to that.
Yeah.
I cannot believe it took me so long to think of.
Well, you have the X right.
Yeah, I said Tales of Xillia. No, it was Xenoblade Chronicles. That's what X was. That was a huge announcement for Nintendo. Some people were saying that was the biggest thing they announced because the Xenoblade Chronicles was like the biggest Wii game
Over there.
in a long time.
Yeah.
Good thing. Good thing.
Glad I thought of that.
Glad you did too.
Yeah, it was killing me. It was, one of those things where you're trying to think of something and it just eats you up.
Yeah, it does.
Because you're trying to think of it so hard you can't.
It's amazing.
Devastating. Devastating.
So I'm thinking 3 frags on the Nintendo conference.
Sounds about right. I'd say 3 frags too.
Overall, not a bad show at all.
No.
Not a great show either. It was somewhere in the middle.
And probably smart that they stayed away from Sony and Microsoft.
Probably
they have no choice at this point, I
Yeah.
think, because they just can't
They would
compete.
pale in comparison.
Yeah.
Anyways, me and Matt promised ourselves we weren't going to drop turds on Nintendo this week. We were going to give them a rest.
We're going to try.
We're going to try. So, props to them. Hope they make a comeback.
That's right.
All right, Sony conference. Take it away, Jayray.
Well, real quick before we say that, I kind of do want to see Nintendo just keep on falling because I want to see them. I know that's messed up to say, but here's why. Hear me out. I want to see.
No, see him keep on falling.
I'm not.
Bottomless pit.
I'm not hating on them, and hear me out. This is why I want to see them become like Sega has. I want to see them make their games for Microsoft and Sony and be a publisher because I think that would be the best route to go with them.
And we've said that previously. I would love to see Zelda on Xbox.
And the only way for that to happen is for them to just keep on falling.
Going down.
Oh, but. Anyway, yeah. So the Sony press conference, the Sony press conference, it was okay. It was decent. It was actually kind of boring. They started out, and the first 30 minutes of it was awful, and that's because they spent a lot of time on Vita, which Vita is really struggling right now. And I know that
they spent a good amount of time on PS3 too.
Well, that was the other one I was going to say, but with the Vita part, they're really hoping that PlayStation 4 is going to bring Vita up with their cross second screen experience.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to happen. Personally, I think that the mobile gaming industry is purely tablet and smartphone based now.
Yeah.
3DS has somehow managed to Nintendo has done a very good job to give them props on their handheld market. They've done a good job with that, but even they're struggling compared to what they did with the DS.
Right.
So, anyway, they spent a lot of time on that. I wasn't impressed. PS3 did not need that much time. PS3 is now going to be last generation here very, very soon. And although it does, The Last of Us came out yesterday.
Yeah.
Or Tuesday. Mm-hmm. You did not need to spend 20 minutes talking about The Last of Us. We all know what that is by now.
Biggest announcement of the show is that partnership with Flixster. I mean, by far.
Yeah, and that's my other thing with their. The whole thing that everybody bashed Microsoft about at their unveil was spending nothing but time on entertainment. Yeah. And then Sony, who watched that happen, decides to come out and spend 30 more minutes on, we have Netflix. They must have mentioned Netflix 6 times. You know what? If you don't have Netflix...
And Flixster, you can't even... with Flixster, you can watch trailers, and I think you can pay and buy movies.
Well, what you can do on Flixster is when you buy a DVD or a Blu-ray, you get a copy of it on Flixster.
Right.
So that's what that... But,
The only thing I ever use Flixster for, I have it on my phone. I use it on there to check the Rotten Tomatoes rating.
Yeah,
for
stuff like
movies.
that. Flixster is nothing. But they spent too much time talking about that. They didn't spend a ton of time on entertainment, but too much in my book. Especially when they're trying hard to appeal to the hardcore gamer this generation.
They knew they had that bomb to drop at the end of the conference, so it didn't matter what they did the whole time.
To me, yeah. Well, we're going to get to that. But to me, a lot of that entertainment stuff was, we can do that too. Yeah. Me too, stuff, scenario. So, anyway, after that, it picked up. They showed a lot of the stuff they showed at their reveal. Yeah.
Extended
stuff. They showed
more of Infamous.
That was my favorite part. They actually showed gameplay footage of that, and then we saw a demo later on in the show. That looked really good. Killzone looked really good. They had a couple surprises, like 1886 The Order. They didn't show any gameplay footage, but
the cinematic trailer looked awesome.
It did. It did. That game looks really good. And then they went on into third party and showed some third party stuff.
A lot of third party stuff.
Yeah, with some of their closer partners, like Ubisoft has always kind of been real friendly with Microsoft, and in much of the way that Activision is with Xbox.
Ubisoft's friendly with everybody. They don't pick sides.
That's true, because they do have an exclusive partnership with WiiU too that they came out and said we're not making any more until you sell more consoles. But and then you know, and up until that point, I was thinking this show hasn't been very good, and it hadn't been. And then they turned it around and they came out with the bomb, which saved their show, because had they not done the shots at Microsoft and announced the price they did, that would have been considered a bad show in my opinion, or a below average show. But that saved it when they came out and said, you can play used games on our console. You do not have to connect online. You can let people borrow, and then they got a standing ovation. Me and P were talking like, what the F just happened? Because we couldn't. I've never ever in watching E3 have ever seen anything like that.
I was surprised that they spent so much time on multi-platform games.
Well, like you said, they showed. You got to remember, Microsoft didn't show games at their unveil.
Beyond Forza and a small teaser for
Sony did, so they didn't have a lot of stuff to give. Yeah. They showed Knack and you know, they showed 3 or 4 indie games.
Now, when Microsoft did their reveal and they showed all those EA Sports games, I was kind of mad that they did that during the reveal. I was like, they should have saved that for E3. But after watching E3, I'm glad they got that the hell out of the way, and I didn't have to see a bunch of
they didn't have to wait time. They didn't have to waste time on that. But and given PlayStation, they did have a very much bigger focus on arcade and indie than they did last generation. They did a terrible job last generation with that. The only good ones they had, in my opinion, were like The Journey and The Unfinished Swan. And
Wasn't there another game called like Flower or something?
There was a few, and there was also Joe Danger, but that came out eventually on Xbox.
And then the second one came out on Xbox first.
That's right. But they had 3 or 4 indie games. One was from the Bastion publisher.
Right.
Or developer. So they had some stuff mixed in there, but and then they announced the price, $3.99, which, you know, shut the place down. And that was pretty much the show. You know, I would give them probably 4 frags just because of the ending. The way they came out and came at Microsoft and were the aggressor on that, and the price. Without that, I probably would give it about 3.5. You know, maybe even 3. But they ended it. They saw the negative publicity Microsoft was getting, and they took advantage of it. So I give them props on that. They did a good job with that.
I like that. I like how they just came out. No
you know,
BS.
So you know, that's pretty much what I thought. You know, I'd say about 4.
I'd agree with that. 4 frags, just because of the ending.
Yeah, I didn't even see it, but
I would say it's just because of the ending.
That's I agree.
Not because of anything else.
I agree with that, because there was nothing overwhelmingly good about the show itself until that. And when you get a standing ovation at E3, you've done something. Yeah, you know.
They had 2 big standout exclusives for me. One was Infamous, and then the other one was The Order, but we didn't see any gameplay.
Yeah, we didn't. And we forgot to mention they did this thing with Quantic Dream, the Dark Sorcerer, and it was kind of like a stupid little real-time thing. It was. Well, a lot of people were saying that they announced a game called the Dark Sorcerer. That was not true. It came out later. That was a tech demo that they titled the Dark Sorcerer. Quantic Dream is working on an untitled PS4 game that they have not announced yet. Okay. But so we don't know what that is yet. And that was pretty much it. It was a good show. It wasn't great. You know, they showed something called the Playroom later on, not during their conference, but it was like a demo showing the controller with the camera and stuff, and it was really, really neat. Really neat. It was some really interesting AR tech with like the camera, and I wish they would have shown that tech demo instead of the Dark Sorcerer there, because God, that would have been cool. There was a lot of people kind of impressed with this Playroom demo, and it really showed some of the capabilities of the camera and stuff.
I'm thinking since they didn't bundle the camera with the console, why would they want to show it?
Maybe so. Could be. You know, because they didn't talk about the camera at all.
No.
So
I think, you know, since Microsoft has got the camera bundling with their console, they didn't even want people to think about their camera during their conference, since they weren't bundling it with their console.
Very well could have been. I wish they could have think about it, though. They could have charged $450 for the console camera bundle. Still beat Microsoft's price.
That's true.
They got the camera in everybody's hands.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't do that.
Maybe they were, but like you said, Pachter said they were terrified that Microsoft might go $399 too.
Well, and then another thing is a $50 price difference isn't really that big of a thing.
Doesn't blow people away.
Triple digits, you know, $100 price difference, that's big things.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, that was pretty much Sony's show, and now Now, I guess we'll move on into Microsoft's.
Yes, sir. All right, so I just took notes on their conference as it went on, each game by game as they announced.
First of all, before we even get into that, I'd like to say that Microsoft did what they needed to do in theirs,
which was show games,
and all they did was stick with games. There wasn't even any real talk. It was just game to game to game to game to game. And I thought that was a good thing and a bad thing, because I thought that it would have normally been exactly what they needed.
The only non-gaming stuff they talked about was Twitch and the upload thing that they got, where you can edit and upload your videos.
And I think that was because they wanted to show that they could do that with, because PlayStation had the Ustream partnership. I think Microsoft wanted to go their own route with Twitch. Because they are two different things, essentially. Ustream... Well, I mean, they're going to do the same thing, but Twitch is strictly for gamers. Ustream is more for other stuff, too. But, no, but what I was saying is I feel like Microsoft should have came out and addressed some of the negative publicity they had.
That's true, yeah.
Just slightly, and then talked about some of the great features they had, too. But other than that, I thought they had a great conference. You know, it was real fast paced. It really moved a lot better than Sony's. Sony's was very slow moving. Microsoft's was, they didn't show a game, talk about it for 20 minutes, then show another game. They showed a game, talked about it for a minute, then showed another game, then talked about it for a minute, and it moved very good. And it made you feel like, oh, I want to see the next one. What's the next one? You kept wanting to see the next one. And then I guess you can go in and talk about some of the notes you took.
Boom. All right, so the first game they showed was Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Reign, which was a great way to open it up.
In my opinion...
Even though it was a multi-platform game, I thought it was a good way to open it up.
And in my opinion, this is one of the top 3 games of the show. I love this game.
What was interesting to me was they opened up the conference with this trailer before anybody even came out and started talking.
I know. Well, another thing that we've got to discuss here is Metal Gear Solid was always a PlayStation-only title.
That's true, yeah.
And now it's at Microsoft's...
Yeah,
it's at Microsoft's conference, which was odd. It's still a multi-platform game, but it almost seems like they're getting in with Microsoft a little more than Sony.
Yeah.
And we saw that with Insomniac, too.
Well, if you remember last year, Metal Gear Rising was at Microsoft's conference, too. So, and we just recently saw the Metal Gear HD Collection release on 360.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I will say that I am a giant Metal Gear fan, and this game just... Man, I cannot stress how awesome this game is.
Open world, key word for Jay.
It is just
that's what's going to get me into
unbelievable looking, because no game fits the open world format better than Metal Gear Solid with the stealth tactical gameplay that it brings. It just, oh my goodness, it gives you so many possibilities. And the way this game looked graphically.
Looked amazing graphically.
It was just, and if you...
The characters all looked really interesting.
Well, they always are in Metal Gear. They're quirky, but they're interesting, and they're always a little cheesy. There's that little cheesy factor in it, but it's good. It's a good cheesy if you can...
if there's such a thing.
Yeah, if there's such a thing. But, I mean, definitely one of the games I'm looking most forward to. And then, they went on into the announcement. They spent a little time on 360.
360 Slim was announced. I think this one's actually classified the 360E or something like that. But
to me, it was an excuse to keep the price point the same.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was an excuse to keep the price point the same, and it was also to make a statement that they're going to continue supporting 360, that they're not forgetting about it.
Yeah.
And it was also a good way to make it look like Xbox One and start getting people, more ready for Xbox One.
Not to backtrack too much here, but one thing we should have addressed during the Sony press conference is now you have to pay to play online games. You have to have PlayStation Plus to play online games.
Yeah, I put that in the news later.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that later then.
All right, so yeah, they announced the new version of the 360 console. Also, they announced Gold members are going to get 2 free games a month now through the release of the Xbox One. Starting off with Fable 3, which is free right now, and then Halo 3 and Assassin's Creed 2 coming up.
Come on, you couldn't give me Revelations free, dog.
No, not Revelations. Should have been Brotherhood.
Or Brotherhood, something a little newer than that.
It was Brotherhood was older than Revelations, and it was better than Revelations.
Give me Halo Reach for free.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy about Halo.
I mean, Halo 3 is a good game and all, but give us something a little bit newer, Microsoft. Come on, dude.
They're free, so they're like,
I could see with Assassin's Creed why they had to go older because they probably had to pay Ubisoft for that.
But for
first party, they definitely could have had Halo Reach.
Yeah,
you know what? Should have been Alan Wake is what it should have been.
That would have been a good way to get the Alan Wake name out there, too, for people that didn't buy the game.
Should have been Alan Wake.
Good call.
That is a good call. I agree with that, because then all those people that didn't buy Alan Wake because they bought Red Dead Redemption could have got to experience it.
Could have seen how amazing that game is. Should have been Al. Should have been Big Al, the Wakester.
This next little announcement they had is big to some people, I'd imagine, not so much to me. But this game has came out of nowhere and taken off. Is World of Tanks.
They got like how many millions of players on PC?
Like 60,
it's unbelievable.
Do you remember like a year ago someone had tweeted us a question to answer on the show
about
World of Tanks, and I was like, what is that?
World of Tanks has gotten
what is that?
Huge, and so they locked them up as a free-to-play game. Beta is coming up in the near future. I thought that, I guess, is a good
coming
move
on 360. What was weird was they didn't announce an Xbox One version, just 360.
Yeah, I know. That
might be just.
Maybe they'll test the water a little bit, and if it does good, pull something else later. But it was definitely a big announcement for 360. They had a couple more 360 announcements. Max: The Curse of the Brotherhood. This is the game that Press Play's been working on. A lot of people might remember Microsoft purchased Press Play last year. Yeah. Since then, everybody's been wondering what they've been having them work on.
Is that a Summer of Arcade title?
Max? No.
It's not.
It's going to be out this summer, but it's not one of the Summer of Arcade titles. Yeah. Which I have Summer of Arcade later in the news as well.
Okay, cool.
Dark Souls 2, they showed that trailer on
looks
on
amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Looks amazing.
Looks really good.
Wish they were coming out with a next-gen version.
That would be nice.
Yeah, and maybe they will.
Wish they were doing a next-gen version of GTA.
And maybe they will, but as of right now, nothing's announced on it. But, Dark Souls 2 looks amazing. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
It definitely looked good.
And I think that had this not been E3 focused so much on next generations, Dark Souls 2 could have had a chance at game of the show.
It would have had a bigger spotlight, yeah.
All right, so Dark Souls 2, and from there they moved on into Xbox One, and it was Xbox One the rest of the show.
They showed the Ryse. They re-unveiled Ryse to the world, and it was stunning in my opinion.
Ryse, Son of Rome.
It looked very, very theatrical. I'm really big on God of War. I'm a huge God of War fan, and I'm a huge Rome or anything that has to do with the Roman Empire, Greek mythology, or stuff like that. And this was really right up my alley. The only concern I had with it was the combat looked like it was QuickTime event after QuickTime event, and apparently that's not the case at all. He was telling me they had come out and had an interview with somebody saying that they would compare the combat style more to Arkham City or God of War.
Okay.
So this definitely seems like Microsoft's answer to the God of War franchise, which is good. They need something like that. And if it compares to God of War, then Xbox owners have a lot to look forward to because God of War is a great franchise. And I pre-ordered Ryse. I am looking forward to it.
Me too.
Look great.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite games from Microsoft's conference. But I had a lot of favorites. Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct was next, and
that's gonna be great.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that.
I know Matterafact is probably the most excited out of all three of us.
We've been talking about how long let Rare off the leash.
Yeah,
and
they did.
Killer Instinct coming back is huge news for a lot of people.
I think Double Helix is doing
it's not. It is. It's Double Helix. It's not Rare.
Rare's helping them.
Yeah, Rare has
but Double Helix is taking the reins.
They have an advisory role on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Which when you're
luckily it has Ken Lobb.
Yeah.
And he was in the first two, so
yeah.
He pretty much guided the whole thing.
Yeah, and Killer Instinct's in good hands. There's nothing to worry about there. A lot of people had a misconception that Killer Instinct was going free to play. That that's not completely the case. You will be able to buy Killer Instinct as a full game no matter what. Or you can download the demo that just gets you Jago.
Okay.
And then purchase characters individually if you want.
Right.
So
it's not a demo. It really is a free-to-play game, and you can buy the characters one by one in that free-to-play model, or you can just buy the full
Well, that's
game.
what I said, not completely a free-to-play game. You can choose that model if you wish.
I didn't want to throw people off with the word demo, because in demos you can't get achievements, but in this one we would be able to.
That's a good point. Yeah, I guess it would be a trial, maybe a trial run, or just to see if you like it, but it's not. You don't have to play it as a free-to-play model if you don't want to.
One thing I wonder though is if you do that, then what about all the stages? I mean, all the stages come unlocked. So if you do versus,
you get the stages and that type of stuff. It's just the characters that they're going to be selling separate.
And I was telling P, you can actually pre-order Killer Instinct right now at GameStop. So,
which is weird to me because because they clearly announced it as a downloadable title.
Maybe it's going to come out retail too as budgetary, kind of like who knows what they're going to do.
If they release it on disc, I might get it, but it doesn't even really matter.
No more. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Unless you just want the box.
Unless I want the box.
The box art.
So then, moving on from Killer Instinct, they showed off Sunset Overdrive, which is another interesting thing because Insomniac is now making an exclusive for Xbox One.
Yeah.
And Insomniac was traditionally a second-party Sony studio. And, they kind of, with Fuse, they kind of ventured into multi-platform, and now they seem to be going exclusive. I wonder how much money Microsoft had to pay them to do this. But Sunset Overdrive, I know you liked it more than I did, but I thought it looked good.
It looked great.
They didn't show much. It was all in engine.
It looked a lot better than Fuse.
It did. Yeah. It did. But that is what holds me back from Sunset Overdrive slightly. I always
looked to me like Insomniac was getting back on their game. Like the weapons looked like Ratchet and Clank type awesome.
It did. It did look. That's a good comparison because Ratchet and Clank was always known for their crazy weaponry.
Yeah.
I'm a Resistance fan, and I thought Resistance 3 was a great game.
Also, they had wall running going on, and you could run up and down the sides of buildings.
Well, they said it was parkour with shooting.
Right, and then there was
Gotham City's imposters is what really struck me when I saw it.
There was these infected creatures looked like they were coming out everywhere, and he was sniping them from a building top, and then
it looked like a combination
down the side.
of Gotham City imposters and Crackdown.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, Team Fortress a little. Just
that's a good comparison.
A lot of people compared it to that.
That's a good comparison. It looked good. I thought it looked really good. I even pre-ordered it. The only reason I'm just a little skeptical about it is because of Fuse. Fuse really was a disappointment, especially from a guy who likes Insomniac so much. I thought Fuse really just...
Maybe they were working on Fuse, then Microsoft came to them for this Project Sunset Overdrive thing, and they were like, let's go hurry up and get this Fuse thing done.
Could be.
So we can get on this other jank.
Could be. So anyway, moving on, Forza 5, which is just looking incredible.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gosh, man, I tell you what, the Forza team at Turn 10 never ceases to amaze me.
It looked incredible. But beyond that, I really like what they're doing with the cloud with this one. How when you're racing, it keeps track of the way you race, how you take turns.
Drivatar system.
Yeah, the
Drivatar, yeah.
The new Drivatar system.
Yeah, because they had a Drivatar system.
They had it before.
Yeah.
But so now it keeps track of all that. So when I go online to race, instead of racing against 4 random AI opponents, if Matterafact and Jayray have been playing, I'll be playing against Drivatar versions of them pulled straight from the cloud based on how they race.
Let's not forget too that you log in. So you haven't logged in for a month. You log in, you're actually getting in-game credits for the races your Drivatar raced against them.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Man,
I'm telling you, the Forza team, Turn 10 is just one of the top tier studios in the world. They are up there with the best, and people don't. I know they only make a racing game, but the quality of the games they put out is
great,
second to none.
It is.
And then I think another thing that helps them is that they're not just developers making a car game. All of them actually legitly love cars and just love what they're doing.
They do. And one of the things that they brought that McLaren P1 on stage. There's only 2 of them in the world.
Yeah.
But another thing, I saw an interesting interview with one of the lead developers on
the bald guy
Forza.
with the beard.
Yeah, and he was saying how hard and difficult it is now to lead the charge on a new console. Because essentially Forza 5 is the forefront of Xbox One.
Yeah.
They are letting them lead the charge.
Yeah.
And man, I have to say that they're in good hands with it, because let me tell you, Turn 10 impresses me every single time I see something from Forza Horizons, where they only had a secondary role in.
Yeah.
To Forza 4, I mean, it's just can't say enough about it.
It's amazing. Minecraft Xbox One edition.
I was a little shocked at.
As much as I should have saw this coming, I actually didn't see it coming.
Well, to me, this was a sheer crowd pleaser, and I didn't see. I mean, let me be clear. Graphics is not everything, not even close.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you look for in a next-gen thing is the increase in graphics capability.
Yeah.
And Minecraft, announce it. They did. It's not a bad thing by any means.
I mean, and then they didn't spend a ton of time on it either.
They didn't. No, I'm not saying. I'm just not too excited about this, because I can already do everything I'm going to be able to do in that game on this one. I guess that's my point.
Well, no, the difference is in Xbox One, you'll actually be able to have worlds the size of the ones on PC. Yeah. The Xbox 360 version of Minecraft, the worlds have to be a lot smaller because of the memory.
They're going to be able to bring out their full PC vision on Xbox One, where they haven't been able to do that.
Like, on PC, people have recreated the entire world of Game of Thrones in Minecraft. You couldn't do that on 360.
No.
You'll be able to do that on the Xbox One version.
Has somebody really done that? I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Wow.
The entire world, every single place, every single river, every single tree. It's amazing. Stuff, man. And it's not just one person. It was like
a group. It was like a whole community.
Like 40 different people working on it together over the course of months, and it's amazing.
I have to see that. That's impressive.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
So being able to do stuff like that, I'm glad to see it come. And Minecraft is a big franchise for them to have on Xbox.
Yeah, without a doubt. I wasn't saying it wasn't. I just was saying on a personal basis, I wasn't getting that excited about it, just because.
Well, I mean, you weren't ever even super excited about it on 360. You played it some, but it wasn't like one of your favorite games.
No, I've never been big into Minecraft, so I guess that just wasn't for me.
But moving on from there, Quantum Break, they actually showed some more in-engine footage of it this time. I thought it was really cool how that dude went into the room. The chick was like, all right, you got 60 seconds. Yeah. And then he went over there and pulled that chick out or whatever. And it almost seemed like at the end he had took the gun and pointed it at her. Like, is she a bad guy? Why is he saving her?
I think that's part of the whole Quantum Break lore is we don't know. I think it's gonna. So many things can go so different ways.
But one of the most interesting things that I read about it is that Quantum Break and Alan Wake pretty much are taking place in the same universe, and that that Quantum Break could be crossing paths with Alan Wake,
which is really, really interesting. And also,
but how would that? Okay, I haven't played Alan Wake all the way through yet, but the world that you play in Alan Wake, the book that he wrote.
No.
Okay.
This stuff doesn't got nothing to do with the books that he wrote.
No. Yeah.
It's just the same universe, and they're saying that maybe one of the characters from that game might cross paths.
Alan Wake lives in that same universe that Quantum Break takes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And they also announced that the TV episodes are affected by the gameplay.
That's weird. That's one thing that I don't know about that.
Well, the TV it's going to be a TV series and a game together.
So on an actual network, it's going to be.
Well, no. All the TV shows are already going to be recorded, and they're going to be on the disc with the game.
Okay.
So my guess is they're going to have different versions of each episode recorded.
And whichever way you play the game, you'll get that version.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then they announced. By the way, I'm looking forward to Quantum Break. I thought that was a game.
I mean, it looks pretty good
because Remedy is Remedy, and they've got the remedy.
They've got the
remedy.
They surely do.
The remedy. D4 by Swery65, not Suda51, coming to Xbox One.
Deadly Premonition was a cult hit on Xbox, and over time it got so good that they actually released it on PlayStation eventually. Yeah. So, Swery65, he's known for his crazy universes.
As a Suda51.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of funny how
the two of them should get together and make a game. Crazy. It would be insane.
Swery Suda6551.
But yeah, so definitely, and that's actually got a lot of Kinect stuff going on in the game from what I read. You'll be able to do controller stuff too. They didn't go too deep into it, but the art style was amazing. I thought the art style was what caught my attention about it. From the trailer, I still don't even really understand the whole premise of what's going on. I just thought the art style looked awesome, and the stuff that was going on was crazy. But yeah, so that's all I can say about that right now. Project Spark, which when it first came on, I was like, "What is this?" But after it showed more and more of it, and the worlds that real people had already started creating in the beta version, and it just looks really cool. And I would say that it looks to me like Microsoft's answer to Little Big Planet.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It is.
But yeah, it looked really cool, and I'm definitely gonna be picking it up now. But when it first came on, I wasn't that impressed for the first few minutes until they started really showing what it could do.
Yeah, once they
and then I was like, wow, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And another thing that's cool is if you have a touchscreen TV, you can use that while you're playing the game. You can use your finger on the TV screen to do it, which is cool. Which I didn't even know that any games were going to be compatible with touchscreen TVs on the next gen consoles. So I thought that was pretty cool. Smart Glass finally getting better. They had the Killer Instinct showdown on stage with the dude and the chick, and they had set up the match on Smart Glass, and then they were playing, and then they started, and the chick picked up the tablet and hit the thing, and then they were broadcasting their match live, and then they were just showing. They just used that opportunity to show a bunch.
Smart Glass is essentially going to look the exact same as an app, but it's going to be supported a lot better from what I hear. I mean, Smart Glass has been, can we say, a letdown on 360.
It has been to some extent, for sure.
From the way they made it out to see, and I think we're finally going to see some of the great capabilities of Smart Glass with the next generation. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to, because one of the big themes of E3...
I mean, it's always been an app. That's what it is. It's an app. It's an app on your tablet. You open it up.
That's what I mean. The app will still be the app, but it's going to be supported, because we haven't seen much support. And one of the big themes of E3 this year seemed to be companion apps. Smart Glass support. Even PlayStation announced they were coming out with a companion app, PlayStation Suite, and all these third-party games are coming out.
I don't think the PlayStation Suite, they're going to make it as big or as good as Smart Glass. I think they're going to try and push the Vita and do their second screen stuff on the Vita to try and sell.
Well, they are, but all these companion apps, like for the Division and Watch Dogs, will all be done through the PlayStation Suite that they announced. The PlayStation Suite is going to actually be a tablet similar to. It's going to. I don't think it's going to be the second screen experience like remote play and stuff. All that'll be done through the Vita. But the reason they're coming out with this is because nobody has a Vita. And everybody has a smartphone. That's the reason they're coming out with this PlayStation Suite thing. Yeah, but if you want to play
it's taken Microsoft this long to get where they're getting with Smart Glass. I'm pretty sure they'll be playing catch up at least for a little while.
Well, yeah, they will. But that without a doubt, it'll probably take them a while to get anywhere near it. But as far as the support for the companion apps for the third-party games, they'll be able to put that.
All right, so beyond Smart Glass, they showed Upload Studio, which you can, if you're playing a game, you get an achievement, you're like, oh shit, I want to edit that and make it a video. You can just bring that up on the fly, snap it over to the right, and start messing around with it while you're still playing the game. Upload the video on the fly and continue playing the game. I thought that was pretty cool how they're dedicating a whole suite to the thing, to where you can actually get intricate and get into it and edit it how you want, if you want to, or you can just do sort of like Call of Duty's doing now and hit the highlights or whatever, shit like that. So it can be as easy or as intimate as you want it to be.
And that's another thing that Sony had showed that you could do too. That was kind of one of those things where they seem to be saying, hey, we can do that too.
Yeah.
We can
do something to it.
Speaking of things they're also doing too, and then from there they announced the partnership with Twitch, which we know Sony partnered with the Ustream, they're partnering with Twitch. And then from there was actually a pretty big announcement for a lot of people.
Yeah. We already knew it was coming, but we're happy about it.
Yes, Microsoft points are ending, and then it'll be real money instead.
And they will convert you over to equal or greater, higher or greater. Yeah.
Greater value in money. So that's coming. I think they said it'll be the end of June, early July when they start rolling it over. So
about time.
Be on the lookout
so
for
sick
that.
of Microsoft points.
be on the lookout for that. And then from there, back to the games. Crimson Dragon, as we know, it was going to be an exclusive on 360, and now it's going to be an exclusive on Xbox One. But I think that's a good thing because now they're going to have controller play or Kinect play, whichever way you want to do it.
Yeah.
Now, I'll probably play it the controller way because if you do it on Kinect, you're going to be, on rails. If you do it the controller way, you can free fly around and do it how you want. And from what I heard, the developer said the difficulty will be higher on the controller-based version of it. But yeah, it definitely looked cool. If you're a fan of Panzer Dragoon, this is, same developer, same premise. He actually said it's a spiritual successor to Panzer Dragoon. So,
nice.
Boom. Definitely looked cool. And then from there, they went to show an indie game, which actually kind of came out of nowhere, called Below. And it actually looked like a top-down, almost reminded me of Zelda from the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like a Link to the Past, but with a different kind of art style. But, you're walking around with a little dude with a sword and a shield looking for dungeons, and it looked like Zelda-type stuff to me.
Yeah.
Like the original Zelda.
Action
Yeah.
adventure.
Link to the Past. Well, the original Zelda was on NES.
Yeah.
But,
let's go back.
Yeah. The graphics weren't that bad.
No.
It was more like Super Nintendo-ish. But yeah. And then, so from there was Dead Rising 3, which, after Ryse and Killer Instinct, that was the next giant game for me. It first came on, I didn't even know it was Dead Rising 3.
It's completely different.
It was just a dude and there were zombies and I was like, yo, what zombie game is this? This looks pretty sweet.
It did look good.
And then the dude started jumping over cars and like every direction he went there was zombies, so he would have to go a different direction, and it was just insanely cool looking. And when it came up at the end of the gameplay demo with the Dead Rising 3 logo, I was like, no fucking way. Are you serious? I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I still can't believe it because I hate Dead Rising. I will be the first one. I will go out. I cannot stand the franchise. If you listen to our show, you know that. But I even admit that this game looked pretty damn awesome. Yeah.
I didn't like the second one. Well, the game could have been decent if it hadn't have been on a timer.
That's what always killed it for me. I couldn't stand it.
Dead Rising sucks. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it out there. Yes. Okay. Well, I'm a little bit more skeptical than him. Although it looked amazing, I'm going to wait and see. I mean, they did. They were impressive, man. They showed one hell of a demo, and it was impressive.
Which brings me to one of the biggest, awesomest points of the Xbox One that no one's been talking about, not even Microsoft, is the fact that I can get Dead Rising 3, play it, tell Jayray it's an awesome game. He's still skeptical. I put him on my shared, my shared library, and he can play it and see how awesome it is for himself.
That's right.
And then decide if he wants to go buy it.
And that to me, that has been the whole problem with Microsoft. That is such an awesome feature.
Yeah.
Such an incredibly awesome feature. And they're not talking about that. They're talking about why they have to be always online.
They haven't talked about it once. The only reason anyone knows it exists is because they posted it as a blip in some article they put on the Xbox website.
It's crazy. It's so, like Peter Molyneux came out and said the way that they have presented the Xbox One has been unprofessional as hell. And it's got some awesome features, man. But there's nothing great being talked about it. It's all the negative features. Yeah. And they've got to find a way to turn that around. They've got to find a way to turn the tide on that. Because it'll be a damn shame to see them not sell any consoles just because they didn't.
Because it was a shame. E3 came. People should have been focusing on their games. But all you heard all through E3 was DRM.
I know. DRM, it's a shame. DRM. It really is a shame. Because what would really be a shame is if they, like I said, they don't sell very well.
What's funny to me is Steam fanboys, PC players out there, they've been putting up with this for years on Steam.
I know.
No one gave them shit about it.
Yeah.
Suddenly Microsoft does it on the console and the world has ended.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I know.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't. It's really...
it's okay for Steam to do it.
Always online.
Not okay.
Always online is fine with me. I've made it very clear on last week's show that I'm fine with it.
Sick and tired.
The only thing that they've done that they are talking about doing or are doing that upsets me a little bit is the DRM.
Yeah.
But they haven't. They're not even. That's not even that big of an issue because they've already come out and said
If you don't bootleg your games,
yeah,
you got nothing to be worried about.
They've already said they're going to have a used game program, so I'm cool with it then.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I imagine to somebody it is, but it's.
All right, so here's how the used games work. It's not even changing for the consumer. The only person that has to do anything extra is GameStop. You decide you want to trade in a game. You take it down. You take the disc down to GameStop. You trade it in the same way you do today. The only difference is when you trade it in, GameStop scans it and then it goes into the Microsoft system and releases the license from your account. So when you go home, you can't keep playing the game even though you traded it in.
Right.
That's the only difference.
I know. I know. It's but like we said, it's been Microsoft has brought a lot of this onto themselves.
Yeah. Just
Horrible wording, and well, not only that, it's like, especially at first, right after the reveal, everybody in Microsoft was saying something different.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, they were not on the same page at all. It was they had a case where somebody came out and said you do not have to connect online once every 24 hours.
Yeah.
Then
Phil Harrison.
And then so then people were like, oh, phew. Then they come back and say you have to connect every 24 hours. So they raised the fire right back up.
Yeah.
You got the two Phils, Phil Harrison and Phil Spencer, and they were just.
Somebody needed to get them together and buy them a beer and let them talk.
Phil and Phil need to start hanging out.
So, you know, back to Dead Rising 3. It looks great, and it could potentially be one of the best games on Xbox One.
It could, and also that they were talking about it like it's like an MMO type of game. Now, I didn't see that in the demo. You only saw the one player playing, so we haven't seen any of the supposed MMO elements. But they did go into depth about the smart glass features where you'll be able to call in airstrikes and call in support. So if you're on there playing, you could have a friend with a tablet, you know, calling in airstrikes and
Divisions,
stuff while you're running around doing the damn thing.
The Division's doing the same thing. You can get players buffs and stuff. Like I said, it seemed to be a theme of E3 where second screen experiences were really a big deal.
Pushing all that.
Well, I think Microsoft's been pushing the second screen thing really hard. Just like recently it was announced that Sony says all PS4 games being developed from this time forward have to support second screen play for the Vita.
Remote play, yeah. And that's their answer to Wii U's, being able to play it. In fact, I posted a thing to our Twitter account if you want to check it out. It's Jokes of E3, and there's one on there that says PlayStation 4 says that you can play your games even if somebody else is watching TV. Oh, that's cute. Where'd you get that idea from? They were talking about the Wii U already being able to do that. It's going to be interesting this whole next generation. But anyway, back on track to the conference. Let's get through this.
Bada boom, and possibly Jayray's game of the show here, Witcher 3.
Well, my game of the show I'll talk about in just a second. I already know what that is. But yeah, Witcher 3 looked absolutely awesome.
It did. It looked great.
It's open world, more like Skyrim. They say that the world is actually 20% bigger than
the second one was kind of open world, but it was like
Dragon Age.
3 smaller areas. Each of them were open, but once you finished with one area, you couldn't go back to it.
Yeah.
You were on to the next area, and that was your new open area to play in.
Dragon Age Origins, similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was supposed to be bigger than Skyrim and drastically bigger.
That's crazy.
And man, it just, if you saw the graphics on it, everything, the lighting, it really looked phenomenal. So I was very impressed.
Let's see. They announced exclusive features and content on Xbox One. Didn't detail what the content would be. They did say that the features would be more in the way of smart glass stuff and Kinect stuff.
Yeah.
Bada boom, that was that. And then they also noted, not at the conference, but later on said, The Witcher 3 is the end of Geralt's story, but he could reappear in future titles, possibly as a cameo, or who knows. Yeah. So, boom.
Battlefield 4.
Yeah.
Battlefield 4. This, I was, and...
That was impressive.
Yeah. Jayray knows I've never been a big Battlefield fan at all.
Yeah.
But I was actually pretty impressed.
Their gameplay demo was one spectacular
on
demo.
that battleship was insane.
It was
especially
insane.
once they came up out of the ship and were on the top of the ship.
Oh my goodness.
The dude was shooting the F-15s and they were coming and down, wiping out the dude.
I heard Major Nelson almost had an orgasm when he saw it.
He probably
because Major Nelson's a known Battlefield fan, and if you watch that was one of the most impressive demos of the entire show.
It was really good.
And I know that Battlefield is hit or miss with people. You're either Call of Duty or you're Battlefield.
Yeah.
But let me.
I think they're getting closer to bringing them together. I think I could be Call of Duty and Battlefield now.
Yeah, I think I could too, because let me tell you something. When that guy shot that jet and then it rolled out and took the guys out into the water, and then you saw the huge splash. My jaws dropped, dude. Yeah. Some of the effects.
It was amazing looking. The only thing I had with it was when the dude was walking, I didn't like how his gun was going just back and forth in a rhythmic motion. Like you could tell it was code. Like it didn't look natural.
Yeah.
That was my only problem with it.
Yeah, well, you have to remember too, we're looking at early builds here. So stuff like that could be changed. In fact, I did read an article where Thief and even Metal Gear Solid 4 or 5, both of those games looked phenomenal at the show, and they say that they're probably not even exactly what that they feel like the graphics could be improved drastically between now and release because they're just tapping into next gen technology.
Right. Well, and then I think Metal Gear 5 was initially started being built on current gen, and then got moved over to next gen.
So they're probably just and they both look great.
Yeah.
So just to think that they could look better gets my Phoenix rising.
Yeah,
also, should note that 64-player multiplayer will be on the next gen, and that's something that PC players have had.
Wow.
It's a big feature of Battlefield's online community on the PC, and it will be here on next gen consoles. 32 on 32. Whoa.
That'll be fun.
And part of the problem with Battlefield 3, they had the jets, they had the helicopters, they had the tanks, all that. But they didn't have the people in the game to make all that gel. So it felt distant. It felt separated.
Yeah.
It was like,
you either had a jet or you're in a helicopter.
Yeah, it didn't feel like your all-out war like Battlefield's supposed to be. It felt like there was dogfights in the air. Whoever got the jet was going to dominate because there was nobody on the other team. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't gelled as one package. And I think that's what separated the console version of Battlefield from the PC. And looks like we're going to get this.
Yeah.
So let's see. They also announced the first DLC, Second Assault, will be first on Xbox One, and also they talked about Commander Mode, which is going to be on Smart Glass.
That's going to be cool.
Where you can you can operate drones and stuff. They were talking about. It was pretty cool looking. So like I said, I don't really understand or know exactly how a lot of this second screen stuff is going to work, but I'm interested to start seeing more of it.
Yeah, because I think there's two commanders. There's 64, or I think they said 62 players, and two of them.
Commander Mode's an old school feature of Battlefield. Yeah. They're bringing it back.
And I think with the tablet they were talking about, you can call in airstrikes.
Yeah.
And stuff just from afar.
Yeah, exactly. You can gives you your commander features.
Yeah.
To control, I guess to issue orders and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of that, I just read sad news. Danger Close is closed down, and they're not doing Medal of Honor anymore. At least not for a while.
Very sad news.
Not surprising.
Yeah, right.
Sad news for the poor developers who lost their jobs.
That
sucks. Sorry.
Yeah, the games were terrible. They tried. Let's be fair. They had more than enough opportunities.
They had two opportunities.
Themselves. Yeah, and they failed both times miserably.
And what's sad is their first attempt was better than their second one.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's because the first time around they had the help of DICE, and the second time they were left to their own methods.
Yeah, true.
But hey, all right. So anyway, teaser from whatever the hell Black Tusk is doing.
Yeah, still don't know.
Some dude rappelling down the side of a building, and that was about all we saw.
Yeah.
Graphics of it, whatever it was, looked okay, but I don't know what the hell.
Seemed like they could have just left that out for a little while.
Yeah,
that's
not pointless.
I think they just put it in there just to show, like, hey, Black Tusk is working on something.
Take a hit.
More about it later. But, so yeah, that was that. Take it or...
What's Peter Jackson's studio?
Peter Jackson's studio.
That was Wingnut Interactive. I don't even know if
I don't even think that exists,
or what. But they never announced it was closed or anything like that. But then you haven't heard anything about it in years either. Yeah. So I can only assume it's
quietly
defunct,
went away.
you know. But
Yeah.
anyway, so after that, they threw on a trailer and it started up, and I was like, "Is this Destiny? What is this?"
Yeah.
Dude walking through the desert in a brown cloak, and it was just kind of flowing in the wind. Got that desert wind with the sands going. He gets to like a precipice or a cliff or something, and then like this giant thing comes up out of the ground,
Yeah.
like a machine. I don't know what the hell it was. There's wind blowing. The hood gets blown back off dude's face, and it's freaking Master Chief. I was like, OMG. Next to when the Dead Rising 3 logo came up after the gameplay for that, I was like, OMG, is that really Dead Rising? This was the second thing that made me say, seriously? What did I just see? Even though it was just a teaser, it was the best damn teaser I've done seen in a long time. Note to everybody else out there, if you're going to do teasers, that's the way to do them.
That's the way to do it.
That was a badass teaser. But so it's official, Halo 5 in the works. That'll be next holiday, not this holiday. And they announced that it'll be running at 60 frames per second. But I imagine you'll see most shooters running at 60 frames per second now with the current generation. Didn't see much of that at all on the current generation. As a matter of fact, I think Call of Duty is one of the only shooters to run at 60 frames per second this generation.
Battlefield was 30.
But and then it's definitely big things for Halo because this will be a first for the Chief.
Xbox One is launching at $4.99. We've already talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, launching at $4.99. And then boom, Titanfall.
Uh-oh.
Unfortunately for Microsoft, this actually leaked out a few days before the conference, but it was still big things.
Yeah, it looked really, really good. The only problem I had with it was, first before I even get into that, it looked very, very Call of Duty fast-paced type of gunplay.
Yeah, it did.
It had a lot of Call of Duty style in it,
yeah.
feel, yeah. But I made the comment to P that the graphically, and graphics are not everything, but graphically it looked current gen.
I disagree with that.
I kind of think it looked kind of current gen too, or like maybe just a little bit above. I mean,
I could see slight improvements, but it was very current gen looking to me.
Yeah.
And that was my only knock on it. Other than that, I thought the game looked and ran really cool. Yeah, it looked very fun.
Yeah.
I thought it looked great. I don't think it was up there with Ryse or Dead Rising, but people who were at the show even said themselves that they've been hearing a lot of people who were watching at home said that it didn't look as great. Yeah. And dude from IGN said he can assure you it looks a lot better in person than it did on the screen for people watching from home. So
yeah, and they still have plenty of time to fix the graphic powers like we were just talking.
Because that's not even coming out this year.
Yeah.
Titanfall is spring of next year.
Right.
So they got plenty of time.
I'd imagine when the final product came out, it would look much better than it did graphically.
The game already looked pretty polished because they showed an extended
that was pretty in-depth
gameplay demo. I mean, it already looked pretty polished, and they've got damn near a year before it comes out. I mean, so they got plenty of time.
Yeah, and I do hope that when I get it, it looks more like a next-gen title. I was just stating that when I was watching the show and the conference and the demos and stuff throughout E3, it looked current-gen to me. But
no, and as everybody knows, Titanfall is exclusive to Xbox One, and one of the reasons the main guy was Vince Zampella. Was talking with Major Nelson, and he was saying that one of the main reasons that they wanted to partner with Microsoft was because he was able to help them handle their vision by having all the servers for him. And he was saying that like he would come up with an idea and bring it to Microsoft and say, can we do this from your servers? Is the cloud computing able to do that? And they would be like, either yes, we can do that, or let us work on it and we'll get back to you. And that it's really been a team effort back and forth between them, working together on the thing. So it's definitely looking awesome. I'm actually going to go ahead right now and say that was probably my game of the show, next to The Division, which I think is probably going to be Jayray's. But
that's going to be mine. The Division was my game of the show. Yeah. My top 5, number 2 would be Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain. I thought that was great. I'd probably round it out with a couple more. Let me see. Sorry, I'm pulling up my list here. I'd say Dead Rising 3 could be up there. Splinter Cell Blacklist looked pretty good. Battlefield 4 and Infamous Second Son. Those were probably my group right there. Forza, God, it's hard to leave that out. It's hard to leave that out. But we also, we'll talk about it later on in the show. Matt, do you have a game of the show?
I'm gonna have 3. First, mine's just preference alone. It's gonna be Killer Instinct. I've been waiting forever for that. It's out. I'm happy. I'm glad.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. I actually, listed it here with the question mark, as you know, and
Yes,
Jayray brought that into question.
Yes. But to see an old franchise like that come back, and to be a launch title,
and it looked amazing.
Yeah,
it did look amazing. That was never my issue.
It looked kind of funky at first. I wasn't too happy with almost like the cell shaded look.
You just don't think it's possible for a fighter to be game of the show, or
no? I just thought that there was other games out there more impressive.
But
that's why I said
that's all. That was the only.
As far as fighters go, I mean, how much more impressive can you get for a fighter? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not saying just a fighter.
I like Killer Instinct, but I'll go beyond.
As good as Killer Instinct looked, I just thought there was a slew of games out there that looked better, in my opinion. That was all.
Number 1, Killer Instinct. 2 would have to be. I like The Division.
Yeah,
that game. That game was mind blowing.
And I'm the one who told you about that game. You didn't even know it was out. And I was like, "Yo, did you see Ubisoft?"
Well, because I was at work. I couldn't see it at work. I told you I wasn't going to watch it until I got home from work. What do you want from me?
But yeah, and then you finally watched it later, and then you told me that I
watched it when I got off work. Yeah, and it was.
My third one's probably going to have to be from Nintendo. I'm going to go ahead and support those guys for once and actually say that I was glad to see just Mario Kart 8 out. And they switched it up.
It wasn't Mario Party 13?
Oh, that was a close call, let me tell you. But the fact that they just kind of reinvented it a little instead of it just being the same thing over and over again. So, like I said, I might actually think about buying one of those WiiUs.
Yeah, definitely. Any other?
That was about it. At least the ones that really caught my eye. I'll tell you one I'm not too happy about. I'll probably cut flack from you guys is that Insomniac game.
Sunset Overdrive?
Yeah, I'm not looking too forward to that.
No?
No. I mean, it looks alright, but...
You don't like quirky games like that?
Oh, no. It's still... I have to see more.
I have the Fuse taste in my mouth, which was my
that
issue.
That demo I played was horrible, the Fuse.
Yeah, it was.
It was horrible.
That's the only thing holding me back from being extremely excited about it is Fuse.
But Insomniac's made great games before.
That's true. They do have a good history.
They do. And it'll probably be awesome. But it's just I just have that Fuse. You're only as good as your last performance, as a saying in sports, and that's kind of where I'm at with that. But I have no doubt Insomniac is a phenomenal studio, a phenomenal company, and they will get it right probably.
Like I said, I'll just have to wait and see because it looks. I mean,
and then finally, Forza 5. Dead Rising 3, Killer Instinct, and Ryse Son of Rome are all 4 going to be launch titles for Xbox One.
That's a good launch lineup, first-party launch lineup. That's a very good first-party launch lineup.
And then from there, going into the policies. There's been, with all this controversy surrounding E3 and everything, I felt like it was time to put it out there. And we already talked some.
Yeah, we've talked a lot
about the sharing. And whatnot. And then this is all straight from Microsoft's website. By the way, you want disc or digital, same day. You'll be able to buy disc-based games from traditional retailers or through Xbox Live on the day of release. Like with games on demand on current gen, if you wanted it to get the day it came out, you had to go buy it on retail. It wasn't going to come out on games on demand for at least a month.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. I like that now because I always thought. I buy games on demand, and I always thought, man, this game's coming out. It might be like 8 o'clock in the morning. I
wish I could just buy it here.
Just buy it here. I'll get a copy. It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's there.
But so that's good news. Access your entire games library from any Xbox One, no disc required.
That's cool.
All your games that you have, they're tied to your account in the cloud. So I can go over to Jayray's house or your house, and I don't got to bring even one disc with me.
That's a good thing. So when I go to Florida to visit my parents, I don't have to bring 10 games with me like I did last time.
Right. You just bring the console and sign into your account, and you're good to go.
Yep.
Don't
even got to bring a console.
It doesn't even got to be your console. It could be someone else's console.
I can play my dad's.
Share access to your games with anyone inside your home. Anybody, even if they don't have an Xbox account, can obviously get onto your console and play any of your games. Give your family, and then this is what we talked about with the library share. Mm-hmm. You have a shared library, and you can set up to 10 friends or family members, and add them to that list. And they can access that library, your entire library of games, anytime.
It says family,
anywhere.
But they won't know. Like me and Pete are family. You know, they wouldn't know if you two. You know what I mean? It will basically be 10 people that you could share your library with. From cool.
Right, and you can do that from any console, anywhere, as long as you're.
You can even play the game.
Long as you've been given access from that from that shared library.
One person.
Now, the one catch is only one of those 10 people can be playing at a given time, and that's not
including you, right?
Right.
Like,
not you. I can be playing Gears of War 4, and Jayray can also be playing my copy of Gears of War 4. So. If Jayray's on playing my copy of Gears of War 4 from my shared library, that doesn't mean that I can't play. I can still get on. It just means
you couldn't play it.
Yeah.
Right. Now, another thing worth noting, that one person is across all games. If Jayray is playing any game from my shared library,
I see.
You can't play any of them.
You can't play until Jayray gets off of my shared library.
Oh, okay.
So, and I think that's actually smart. Otherwise, you'd see people, just doing shared libraries and no one buying games, just feeding off of other people's libraries, and then sales would go down dramatically. So, obviously, there's a reason behind that. Trade-in and resale.
We talked about that.
Everybody on the internet, I can't tell you how many times I've read the comment.
Yeah.
No used games. Microsoft's not supporting used games with the Xbox One. When this just could not be any less true. It's the same way it is now, and we talked about this early in the show. Yeah. You trade in the game the same way you do now. The only difference is GameStop scans it and disconnects it from your account. New generation of power with the cloud. Everyone knows about that. What they're doing with the Drivatar and Forza and all the stuff that they're doing in Titanfall with the cloud power. So obviously it's a benefit. Xbox One is always ready. You can have it in a low power state, or you can have it completely off. If you have it in a low power state, you can say Xbox One and it comes right on. Now, another thing that a lot of people have been worried about, one of my friends in particular, and Matt's friends, thinks that thought that Kinect was just going to be spying on them.
Big Brother's watching.
Big Brother was watching, and he doesn't want them to see.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they've got privacy settings. You can go in there and pause, turn the Kinect off, whatever. When you don't want to be using it, during gameplay, during app using, it doesn't matter. You can turn it on. And if you're still worried about it, get yourself a piece of cardboard and some tape and flip it over the eye.
Drape a towel over that.
That's right.
The rest of these are pretty much things we've talked about numerous times, like stay connected. Never miss an opportunity to play games with friends or to catch up with family on Skype. We've talked numerous times about Skype being embedded into the system.
Bada bing, bada boom. All right, and then the new achievement and challenge system. Of course, you've got the regular achievements just as they are today, and we were talking about this the other week, how they had that recent patent to have achievements in apps and for watching movies and things. Yeah. And I told you, I was like, it better not support Gamerscore, and it's not.
Okay.
For apps and things like that, it's going to be challenges.
Right. They're going to be totally different. Will not increase your gamer score. They'll be like medals.
You get like medals and things, and you can unlock stuff in games for game challenges. You can unlock extra characters, extra guns, different outfits for characters in games, extra stages, whatever. And another thing that's worth noting about challenges is that achievements are forever. Once an achievement goes up, even if a developer adds one later, it's got to be good forever. It can't be a time thing. Yeah. Challenges, on the other hand, developer can put up a challenge that's good for this week. And if you miss out on it, you miss out on it.
Yeah, it's gone.
You know what I mean? So that's the difference between the two. Bada boom. All right, so we've talked about all the E3 conferences. We've graded them. For me, it's hard to say who won. I'm giving Microsoft 4 frags on their conference. I'm giving Sony 4 frags on theirs, but for different reasons.
I would give Microsoft their conference alone 4 frags.
Right.
Because I thought it was nice and fast-paced. Their entire E3, I would drop that grade a little bit because of their failure to really
address the issues.
Yeah. That's me. I feel like that they really dropped the ball on their...
Well, if we're talking about entire E3, then I would drop Sony's grade too, because beyond that one announcement at the end of their conference,
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about with the negative press
that,
they've built and stuff. You know, we haven't seen any negative press or anything built up through Sony. That's the reason I would drop Microsoft's grade, not because they didn't have a good E3, because of the negative press and the failure to address it and all that. That's what I was speaking about.
Well, me personally, I'm not going to hold other people's opinions against them in press or whatnot. I'm just going to say that the games look great.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm giving them a 4. And after the press conference, they continue to show great games for the rest of E3. That's 4 frags for me all day. Yeah. Sony, I'm giving 4 frags just because of that one thing at the end of their conference when they announced the price and the no DRM.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, they would have not have gotten 4 for sure.
Yeah, and I we talked and you both agreed though they've done a terrible job of making the consumer understand
of getting the message out.
Yeah, exactly. And
I
great
agree with
features.
that, but it's not. That I'm not going to drop their grade because of that. That doesn't got nothing to do with the games that they showed.
No, it doesn't. But it's them as a whole. They need to do a better job of that. They need to flip this whole negative.
They need to just clear the air.
They've got to, or else it's going to.
They do, but to me, that's an internal problem that they need to handle, and they can handle it at E3, before E3, after E3. They can do that anytime.
Right, and
E3 is about the games, and that's what I'm grading them on.
Yeah, and they did. They did. That's why I gave them a 4. I'm just saying they've got to give this. They've got to get it turned around. They have to do it.
Yeah.
They need to address it, and that they should start toting the shared library feature.
They should.
Yeah,
that's probably the best feature they've got right now, and they've got to start talking about it. That's an awesome feature.
Yeah. All right, so that's past the press conference. On to the rest of the news that came out after the conferences at E3. One of the biggest surprises, I think, was Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. It was announced for PC, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. No announcements for PlayStation or Nintendo yet. I say yet because they didn't say exclusive.
Yeah, so it'll become later probably.
You know, that maybe it'll just be first on PC and Xbox. Who knows? But I thought it was really cool looking. It was a mixture of like third-person shooter mixed with tower defense.
Okay, so you actually saw gameplay of it?
Yeah.
I didn't see any of that yet.
You play as the plants, trying to hold back the zombies, just like in regular Plants vs. Zombies. Yeah. But you walk around as the plants doing your third-person shooter thing, but littered around the map are these pots. And you can walk up to them and plant seeds in them. And when you plant the seed, like a little turret will come up out of the pot and start helping you out to help you keep the zombies back. Okay. So you've got that traditional Plants vs. Zombies tower defense mixed in with the third-person shooting action. It was
mix it up. Yeah.
One of the funnest looking games I saw at E3. I will say that, and of course it looked great too. Beyond that, later on after the show, they announced the new 360 is $200 for the 4 gig, $300 for the 250 gig, which is the same thing now. And I'm going to go ahead and go on record and say, if you're going to get a 360, get the Slim, not the new one that they're releasing now, because the new Slim that they release has one less USB port, and it doesn't have a high def optical audio output on the back like the regular Slim does. So
they're cutting down costs but still keeping the price.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to tell you,
you could get a Slim like we have now for cheaper than this new one that they're releasing, and it's got more ports. Yeah. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Good point.
Dragon Age Inquisition coming fall 2014.
Please talk about it. My voice is
not really a whole lot to say about it. You know, they say it's going to be an open world experience now, just like Skyrim.
That was Morgan in the trailer, right?
That was Morgan and Flemeth talking in the background. Based on, they say they're still your decisions and stuff will carry over. They're just trying to figure out a way to do that cross generation. You know, that's pretty much all there is to talk about that. EA announced Star Wars Battlefront.
You just saw a short trailer though.
A teaser trailer, and it had Fleming talking in the background.
It was still big news.
It was huge news.
Definitely.
You know, and they say they even came out and said that they heard the fans saying that the last game wasn't polished enough. A lot of problems with it because it was rushed. They're not taking. They say they're not taking that route this time. Yeah. EA announced Star Wars Battlefront. Huge news from some people. I know people that have said this is the guy at GameStop said this was his single-handed biggest news of his show. That this is just the biggest news he's ever heard, pretty much. And he was nutting himself over this when I went to pre-order my Xbox One. I mean, could not he was talking about it to everybody that walked in the store.
Pretty much, he's like Death from Above would have been if Borderlands 3 had been announced.
Well, we know that Star Wars Battlefront is like a huge thing on PC.
It's got a huge following on PC.
Dice doing it. Big things. EA announced Mirror's Edge 2. Going to be an open world game. Going to be multi-platform. This is something that was also big for some people.
Yeah.
Xbox also announced...
Mirror's Edge 2 was big for some people. I just want to go ahead and say that I didn't think Mirror's Edge was bad, but I didn't think it was great either.
Me neither. Xbox announced that if you pre-ordered your Xbox One, you'll get a Day 1 edition.
It is cool that the new Mirror's Edge is open world. I think
that'll make it better.
Yeah, that'll make it better.
The Day 1 edition of the Xbox will have an engraving that says Day 1 2013 on the controller. Yeah. You'll get an exclusive achievement as soon as you turn it on. You'll also get an HDMI cable and your Kinect in your console. No headset.
Right.
Which me and P were talking is kind of an odd move for them, especially when But
and then like I was telling Jayray, I think the reason they're doing it is because of the Kinect. Yeah, you can talk to people with the Kinect, and I think they're trying to get more people using that.
They are really pushing that thing.
South Park: The Stick of Truth was shown in a little bit more glory. The bit they showed was hilarious.
Yeah, it was
with Randy, Stan's dad, farting and saying the Nagasaki.
What got me was though, long as this title has been developed and then delayed, they've had solid dates for it before, but now all they can say is holiday. Well, why couldn't they give it a solid date?
THQ.
What about THQ?
They went down.
Yeah.
Well, I know that's why the game got delayed, but
all that's been done with.
Yeah, I mean the game's pretty much.
I'm sure that the point. I'm sure they've made some changes. I'm
just wondering why they couldn't give us a solid date for this holiday season.
I don't know. 2 Trials games in 2014. Trials Fusion coming to Xbox One, 360, PS4, and PC, and Trials Frontier is a mobile game. The two of them will work together.
And Trials has always been a great game.
Yeah, great game. Trials is awesome. Rabbids Invasion will be an Xbox One exclusive. It's an interactive kids TV show for Nickelodeon.
And for those of you who don't know what the Rabbids are, they're like the little dudes from Rayman.
Yeah.
Like
little rabbits, aren't they? Like rabbits. Yeah.
The Crew is coming out multi-platform in 2014 and will allow players to drive across the United States. Gameplay is described as driving at its most exciting. Features they're touting this online persistent world.
To me, it looked like Need for Speed meets the Fast and the Furious movie.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those Need for Speed type arcade races.
Well, they say you drive across the United States. So what are they talking about? Like, is it like Cannonball?
Forza Horizon type stuff, but the entire United States probably.
Okay. It'd be cool to have like one race from like Virginia to say Texas.
Maybe how like Cruising USA used to be back in the day.
Oh.
So
probably not as good though.
Hard on the eyes.
The Division, which was my game of the show, everybody pretty much agrees that game was incredible.
Yeah.
It was touted as an online MMO type RPG. They didn't use the MMO term, but it got
labeled
that because it was massive. It was online. It was all online based.
Yeah.
And
this is a game that I could see, the three of us playing together a lot.
It was brought together as a Mass Effect without space involved.
I kind of see that, yeah.
And these days, it's hard to get Jayray on a co-op game. He's all about his single player, but I think we could actually get him on some co-op.
You might be. You'll get me on this one.
Yeah, well, it's like another new trend, just like with the smart glass. All these
a lot of these games at E3 seem to be merging single player and multiplayer together.
Watch Dogs seems to be leading the charge on that.
That was a big theme this E3.
It's just breaking down the walls.
Yeah. Microsoft is partnering with Mad Catz, Turtle Beach, and Polk Audio to make official accessories. Polk's making the soundbar. Turtle Beach has a whole line of officially branded headsets. Mad Catz has some things coming out like the Fight Stick that will not be available on PS4. It's an exclusive feature or an exclusive peripheral for Xbox. Okay. They're really trying to lock down the accessories market for themselves early so that they have plenty of accessories to come out when the system launches. Good move for them. Yeah. Ubisoft announces Far Cry Classic for Xbox 360 this summer for 560 Microsoft points.
If it's redone in good HD graphics and it looks good, 560 points ain't that bad.
That's a good deal for that.
No, it's cheap. Some bigger news, Final Fantasy Versus is now Final Fantasy 15. They have multiple direct sequels planned That's something that they're looking into anyway. God, it looked insane. The trailer, the gameplay footage was nuts. Didn't look like your turn-based JRPG Final Fantasy, but it did have its Final Fantasy draw to it that you saw. We'll have to wait and see on that one, I guess. Looked really good. Huge news for me. If you listen to the show, you know I'm the biggest Elder Scrolls fan.
Another thing I thought was interesting was that on Xbox One, it's going to run in DirectX 11 because of the Windows kernel, which anybody who knows, DirectX 11 is leaps and bounds above DirectX 10. They've just made tons of improvements on the way that lighting works, the way that loading works, and it's just it's a good thing.
Back to what I was saying, Elder Scrolls Online. I'm not a PC gamer, and I wasn't going to really probably get to experience this, just because I'm just not a PC gamer, and I love the Elder Scrolls so much.
Yeah, you do.
They announced this coming for Xbox One and PS4, and I almost lost it. You can ask my roommates. I was watching it, and I was giddy like a schoolgirl when I saw this. It was one of my favorite moments of E3, and I was just ecstatic. Kingdom Hearts 3 will be coming to Xbox One and PS4.
That's crazy.
What's crazy about it is my roommate said they announced this right after they announced Final Fantasy 15, and my roommate said, "Man, I wish they would come out with a new Kingdom Hearts for PS4." And boom, it was there. So Kingdom Hearts 3 coming to both next-gen consoles. Mad Max, which was an interesting. They showed a good trailer at the PlayStation reveal,
being put together by the developers of the Just Cause series.
Yeah, and Mad Max, again, a 1980s movie that seems like they're coming with an open world game now. That if they do anything like they did with the Just Cause franchise, Just Cause 2 was awesome.
Yeah, this should be pretty good. Especially you have to rebuild your car.
Hell
get
yeah,
the parts for it and everything.
Hell yeah. Telltale's Walking Dead 400 Days DLC coming to Xbox 360 and PS3. The choices will carry over. The interesting thing about this is there's a whole slew of characters. You don't have to play them in any order.
There's 5 chapters, a different character in each chapter.
You can play any of them, any order you want.
But evidently there's a gas station in each one that they all eventually end up
it kind of merges them all together in some way. They have also announced for people that Vita is going to have The Walking Dead coming to it. That was something that they talked about. Power Star Golf is Microsoft's hotshot version. Seems like that they're coming out with exclusive franchises themselves to rival a lot of the big powerhouse Sony ones, and that's a good move. They need to do that. That's something we've talked about. They needed to do with 360. So, Warhammer MMO coming to Xbox One and PS4.
There's something Steve will be interested in. You know how he loves his Warhammer.
Yeah.
The guy. Anybody who's played PlanetSide. For the PC. It's
for free-to-play shooter?
Yeah, it's a big-time thing on PC coming for PS4. So is Warframe. Not too familiar with Warframe, but that's been announced for PS4 too. I didn't even realize that PlanetSide was a Sony-made game.
Yeah.
That looks really good. I saw that.
Yeah, it's big. I even said that when it came out on PC that I thought it looked awesome, and I didn't even realize, that it was made by Sony. So they're going to have that.
That right there almost maybe just be like, I want a PlayStation now because the way people.
What is Warframe? Is that out yet, or is it coming out, or what is it? I know they announced it. It's another MMO free-to-play game.
It's probably something along the lines of.
I have no idea, and I didn't see any gameplay footage for the Warhammer MMO. They just kind of announced it and talked a little bit about it. Watch Dogs, your friends can hack your character in the single-player game. How does that work?
Single-player. Watch Dogs is merging single-player and multiplayer. And they showed with the tablet how you can help your friends or hack them. They haven't shown anything other than using the tablet. You can make things difficult for them, or you can help them, whereas if they're running and they're trying to hack something, you can override them, or you can help them escape from cops and do different things, hack things while they're running. Bethesda did not announce Fallout 4. They were asked about it. They remained silent on it. Skylander SWAT Force is coming out for multi-platform next-gen. EA is working on gamer first, use game policy for next gen. Ubisoft says use game industry is great. Wolfenstein: The New Order and The Evil Within confirmed for both consoles next gen. The Evil Within showed a demo, absolutely awesome.
Yeah. From the original creator of Resident Evil.
From the original creator of Resident Evil, and it looked insane. Pure survival horror roots.
It was almost gross. It was so crazy.
It looked terrifying too. Just let me throw it out there. Summer of Arcade 2013 begins August 7th. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. I know that gets peas. Phoenix Rising. Charlie,
me and Matt got to get down on that.
I'll get down on it too. All the old Turtle arcade games were so classic. So classic. Charlie Murder.
That's the new game from Sky Studios.
Yeah. Flashback.
Now that's evidently an older franchise that they're bringing back. Although I don't remember playing the old one back in the day.
Never played it, but I remember seeing it advertised.
You did?
Definitely came out on PC first back in the day. Like it was a PC game. They brought it over.
And this other one is Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. It
looks pretty cool.
A co-op arcade game where you work together to try and get to different places. The art style was definitely original looking.
Yeah, it was.
Looked interesting.
We already talked about the Xbox One achievements and challenges being split. We have not talked about their reputation system, which I'll take now to do it.
Please do.
I read a lot about this, and there's some people very concerned about it. I think that it's going to be really cool. The reputation system that they tried to implement for 360, we could say failed. It didn't work. It was 5 stars all across the board.
Yeah.
It was just...
When you first create your account, you're at 3.5 stars. After 4 or 5 people rate you, you're at 5 stars, and it never goes down.
It never goes down. Basically, what's going to happen is the Xbox is going to read everything itself. You are still going to be able to rate people. If let's say I rate you negatively, Matt, because you annoyed me in some game. Okay, just hypothetically. Hypothetically. And if it would read, it would say. Then all of a sudden, 15 people rated you.
Yeah.
Okay? 15 people that rated you negatively that did not play a game with you.
Oh.
It equals less than one person that played a game with you that rated you negatively. And they do that and also, let's say I played a game with you and I rated you negatively. Yeah. Then 14 other people rated you negatively that played a game with you, but they're all on each other's friends lists. It won't hit you nearly as hard, and it gets that from me saying, "Hey, man, that dude was annoying. Rate him badly."
Yeah,
and
spread the word.
Yeah, and it was really cool how they're doing that, and they said that they're going to tweak it and make it fair, and really do that. And they want to do this because they want to get rid of a lot of the riffraff on Xbox that's really bothering people, and
that's
a good thing.
Yeah, it's a very good thing.
Get rid of those little 8-year-old kids that.
If you want to read more,
bad mouth.
If you want to read more about it, check out our Twitter. I sent the article there. So, PlayStation Camera is not bundled with the PS4, and multiplayer is confirmed to be behind the PlayStation Plus. This is something that they did a good job of hiding in between bashing Microsoft. But yeah, it's
they were like, no DRM. Got to play for multiplayer for PlayStation Plus. By the way, we're at $3.99.
Yeah. That's exactly what they did. And it was funny how they did that. People like us obviously caught that. He caught it right away. He told me about it. I didn't even catch it. They did it so quick at first. But you know what? That's how Microsoft should have handled a lot of their stuff. Like you said, they should have came out when they unveiled the console. Boom. This is what we're going to do. If you want to know more about it, we're going to have this big thing where we talk about all of it. Let's move on to the good things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so interesting enough, you're not going to have to pay to be on Netflix and stuff like that, but you are.
I didn't expect them to do that.
Yeah, but you're going to have to pay now to play multiplayer games online. Which was weird. They said free to play. You won't have to. Seems like that's going to get a little confusing. You're not going to have to play it.
Especially since I would think more people will be playing the free-to-play games multiplayer than the paid games. It's the cat. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and anyway, Rainbow Six Patriots moves to next gen, and it's going to be released on multi-platform next gen. Zod was revealed to be the new next Injustice character for DLC, and EA confirms Dead Space is not dead.
But no one's working on it.
No one's working on it right now.
Which is sad things, because I like Dead Space.
Yeah, me too. We'll see it. We'll see it.
Next holiday.
Probably longer than that. Maybe one more holiday after that, but we'll see it for sure. So,
bada boom. I threw together a quick list of games. Xbox One exclusives: Quantum Break, Titanfall, Killer Instinct, Ryse Son of Rome, Dead Rising 3, Halo 5, Forza 5, Sunset Overdrive, Crimson Dragon, LocoCycle, Project Spark, D4, Minecraft Xbox One Edition, Below, Power Star Golf, and added at the last second, Connect Sports Rivals. Thanks to Jayray.
Eagle Eye.
Multi-platform games. These games will all be on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Call of Duty Ghosts, Metal Gear 5, Witcher 3, Watch Dogs, The Division, Mad Max, Final Fantasy 15, Kingdom Hearts 3, Destiny, Elder Scrolls Online, Dragon Age Inquisition, Assassin's Creed 4, Thief, Rainbow Six Patriots, Splinter Cell Blacklist, Mirror's Edge 2, Wolfenstein: The New Order, The Evil Within, Battlefield 4, The Crew, Star Wars Battlefront, Dying Light, Skylanders Swap Force, and Just Dance.
And there's also some indie games in there too that were on the list for multi-platform.
Right.
And then
Game of the show. I think we already pretty much.
the Division.
I'm Titanfall. You're the Division, and
Killer
Instinct. Boom.
There it is. E3 was pretty crazy this year.
Pretty crazy this year.
It was one of the most eventful E3s I can remember. You know what somebody said though? They said that this E3 was just nothing but a bunch of teasers, and they were disappointed about that. But I think that's where we're at with the new consoles coming out. Yeah. You know,
plus I would say that I saw a lot of gameplay. I mean,
we did.
There were some teasers.
I think he was talking about compared to most years. You know what I mean? Comparing them to last year, the year before. But that's because that's where we're at with the new generation.
Trying to get people excited.
That's it. Yeah. You know, so I think when you got two companies going head to head right now, like Sony and Microsoft are, you're going to tease things that aren't ready where you ordinarily would.
It was different last time because Xbox and PlayStation were a year apart.
Yeah, that's right.
True.
This time it was
head to head.
That's exactly right. You know, and like Halo 5, if Microsoft wasn't going head to head with Sony, they wouldn't have teased it.
They probably wouldn't have even teased it. They'd have saved it for next E3.
That's exactly right. You know, we're going to see a lot of cool things over the next 5 to 10 years with this generation, and
I think over the next 5 months until the consoles come out, we still got Gamescom and a couple other events coming up, and you can guarantee there's going to be announcements between now and then from both camps.
Last thing before we finish, biggest disappointment as far as something that was not there you wanted to see.
That would be Alan Wake 2 or Lost Odyssey 2.
Well, we knew Alan Wake 2 wasn't coming. So
Lost Odyssey 2?
Lost Odyssey 2. Okay. Yeah.
Man, I have to think about that.
Zelda?
I was expecting those not to be shown.
You were?
Yeah. It's Nintendo.
Zero confidence in Nintendo.
It's Nintendo.
For me, it's Fable 4.
Yeah.
Fable 4.
Yeah.
That's just I was very disappointed.
I was expecting that.
There's two more. The Uncharted 4, I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Or God of War, a new God of War.
I would have liked to see a new God of War.
I didn't think there was going to be a new God of War because one just came out.
Yeah, but I was the only reason...
The same reason I knew there wasn't going to be anything about Gears of War because Judgment just came out.
Right, and there was even a hoax came out about a Gears of War Redux.
Oh, really? I didn't even hear that.
You didn't hear about that? Gears of War is going multi-platform, and it was going to come into PlayStation 4 and Wii U, and it was called Gears of War Redux. And the community went into an uproar. Microsoft fanboys were going ballistic, and then it was turned out to be a hoax. and man, you should have seen it. It was nuts. But we know that Gears of War is going to probably stay a Microsoft exclusive. I'm willing to bet. I can't see, especially with them trying to lock down all the exclusives they can. I can't see them letting one of their big puppies go.
No. They'll keep paying whatever Epic wants.
That's right. But and God of War, the only reason I thought that might be there is because they called the last one Ascension, not God of War 4. So I was thinking maybe we might see a teaser.
Oh, they called the last one Judgment. Could have been Gears 4.
Yeah, could have been. You know, I knew we weren't going to see a complete unveil. I was just maybe tease. You know, Fable 4, I thought there was a chance.
Now, Uncharted, I was kind of expecting Sony to at least throw up a logo or something.
Yeah, me too. And have no doubt Uncharted 4 will be coming out to PlayStation 4 sometime. But I think maybe they figured Killzone and Infamous was their first party enough. You know, those are two of their big ones.
Plus, I mean, the developers are fresh off The Last of Us.
And that was a long development cycle for them. You know so they're probably like, they had to... The Last of Us has been getting... That was a massive game.
I would say next E3, Uncharted is almost a given.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Probably God of War as well. You know, I would say that too.
What about that game you just talked about it? Insomniac made it.
Sunset Overdrive.
No, the shooter
Resistance.
Yeah.
Well,
on that at all?
Sony owns that property.
Yeah.
And in order for them to make a Resistance, it would have to be a Sony exclusive. And Insomniac is really trying to multi-platform themselves. And Sunset Overdrive, I guess, was somehow paid for. Xbox must have gave them a lot of money because I know when Resistance branched out. When Insomniac branched off of Sony exclusively, they said it's because they were tired of making for one platform, which is why Microsoft had to have paid them for this quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they paid EA a ton for Titanfall.
Oh, God, I know. I don't even want to know what they paid for that.
That was probably an insane amount, more than any of us will see in our lifetime.
It's a good move.
It's
a good move for them, though. It's a great move for them because Titanfall is going to be a big game.
It's going to be we talk about unit movers. That's a unit mover.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. That's a big one for them, man. They needed that. So it's a shame they couldn't get it ready for launch. Because
how about rating E3 overall this year? How many frags would you just keep E3 as a show?
gosh, I'd say 4.5.
Yeah, I'd
Four
say
and a half.
I'd say 4.5 too, because it was pretty exciting all the way around.
Yeah, it was.
You know,
Way better than the last few years.
Gosh, last year's E3 was piss poor.
It was.
you know, I think that's why is because
For everybody.
this generation's just been so long.
I was
that
disappointed there wasn't a
All it
Wonder.
is just games and games.
I was disappointed there wasn't a Wonder Book 2.
Yeah, I know you were.
Gosh, that was last year's conference.
All they needed to do was come out with Wonder Book 2 and make it open world. Jayray would have been all over
of it.
himself.
Oh man, open world Wonder Book, you gotta be kidding.
But yeah,
how would you even do that?
All right, so there's our After E3 episode. We hope y'all enjoyed it, and we will catch y'all next time.
Frag Attack Radio.